Hi and welcome. It's Jean at Captain Stitches. And it is Tuesday, so you all know what that means. It's time for Tip Demo Tuesday. But first of all, I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers and the new subscribers. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, all your wonderful comments, how kind and welcoming you are. Thank you very much. It means a lot to a new YouTuber like me. So thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy the things that I am taping and bringing out to you and sharing with you. So thanks again. Now, welcome to the cottage, and let's get on with what I have to show you today. There are a lot of stitching forms out there, and one of the real popular things going on right now is embroidery, but everybody's calling it slow stitching, cloth stitching journals, that type of thing, which is just a little different form of embroidery from what we did years back. But it's very enjoyable and one of the things that I really love doing. And in my Facebook group, we are doing, those that want to quilt stitch along, we're doing a cloth stitching journal. I am starting just a little different one myself, a larger stitch journal. And I have been asked by some on how I plan, how I get my ideas, how I start and pull things together for starting a page for a stitch journal. So that's what I'm going to give you some tips on today, and a demonstration on what I do. There's many ways of doing this, so I'm just going to show you, kind of walk through how I plan a page. First of all, the first thing you have to do is you have to have somewhat of an idea of what you want to do on your page. Or you can just let your fabrics and everything that you have in front of you talk to you. But I knew that I wanted, with it being spring and Easter coming, I wanted to do a page that brought on that new spring feeling and whatever. So I have several stamps and they give me inspiration a lot of times. So I thought, okay, I'd like to have a rabbit or something that has to do with Easter or spring theme on the middle center theme of my stitch page. So I went through my stamps looking for ideas. Found this, you can't see real well, but this is a lovely little rabbit. Has flowers and everything in the hair, real cute. I also found, I have it on my stamp pad, sorry, but a little girl sitting with a lamb, a couple chicks, and then there's a bunny in the background there, which is also a nice spring scene. And then I also like this bird with the music and the words in the background. So I tried them out, and I have first taken them and stamped them on fabric, a couple of them. It won't show up real well in the view, but that is where I got my inspiration, and then when I'll start pulling other things for my page. I know that I have a journal that I write in. I also do that type of journaling, and I like the size of it. So I kind of measured that, took the measurements from it, made myself a freezer paper template by cutting 2 sheets of freezer paper the size that I wanted, ironing them together so it makes a nice stiff little template. And that is 7.5 inches by 10 inches for this one. And I also know that I'm going to use our regular, that I always use, the SF 101 Shape Flex as a stabilizer on the back of it. So I have cut it larger than what my finished page is going to be, and I will be using that to kind of help me lay out the fabrics and then also pressing on it afterwards. So how do I begin? First of all, I'll be using my board here to help lay things out kind of and show you as I go along. So we're just going to put that there. But the first thing that we need to do is find some fabrics for the back of the foundation of our page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and use this stamp just as an idea, put it on my fabric there, lay it, and then I have a huge drawer that I have fabrics in that are for applique and that type of thing. But I also have this bin that is crammed full of all sorts of leftover pieces and stuff. So I'll start going, which right there off the top, I'll start going through and pulling some pieces that I think I might like, and that's what this little basket is for, as I find some that I think, oh, might work with what I'm doing. Oh, there's another nice one. I just toss them in the basket, and I know I'm going to want some sky, so there's a nice blue strip of fabric there that could be used for the sky. Oh, let's see if we can find something that'll work for maybe some grass down at the bottom. We have a nice strip of green there, so I'll throw that in there. I like this pink. I'm going to throw that in there. I'm going to set this down so I can rummage through a little bit better. We might even be able to use some of that gold tone in there, but we just keep digging through and finding different scraps. Try to see what we've got in here. Ooh, some of that pink might work nice in there, and it doesn't matter what the size is because we're just going to lay them on and see what works where, sew them together into kind of a patchwork. I'm going to pull that one out too. But so anyhow, we've got some to start working with. And I'm going to set those off to the side, and we're going to take this, and I know that I said, okay, I'd kind of like, you know, something green on the bottom. I almost dropped our board. So I'm going to lay this kind of across the bottom there. I know that I want the blue up in the sky. So we're going to lay that across our top. Scoot it up there, and we know that this is also oversized. And then let me see. I like this pink. I'm just going to bring it down here because I know I want more than one on that side. We're going to throw this one in there also. And I'm just throwing pieces on until I kind of fill up. Ooh, I like this better. Okay. We're going to take this over to this side. I think I'm going to turn it that way, but I'm liking that. We're going to take that one out of there. I think we're going to pull this one. I'm going to fold that because I'm not going to use that much of that one. We're going to put that one up there along with, we need a yellow. Let's see if I have a yellow in here. Maybe we'll use some of this plaid. Okay, so you see how I just keep building, and we're going to need another something in here because I don't want this white that's there. Okay, as we drop some on the floor also, that's always fun to clean up afterwards, but we have another. That's not long enough. We have another green here that we could add in. So we're just gonna, oops, throw that in. See how I just keep adding, layering until I can tell that I will have most of my area filled. That will be the size of my page. Still not finding quite the right we might be able to throw this one in up here. But there we have, let me back up so you can see that, which this is just hanging off there. But I've taken and I filled around that until I have the majority of this page filled up. And then I will just take this over to the sewing machine and I will start piecing on this center piece and just build out from it until I have larger than what my background is on here. And we will trim it all off afterwards. So to show you how it ends up after you sew all those, we have this one that is the one that I started so that we would have a finished one. And you can see this is the SF 101 shape flex on the back so that my embroidery, it helps holds it, and it gives a nice little, just a little stabilization to the page for when I am stitching on it. So the next step, we have our page ready that we're going to do our stitching and embellishing on. So how do we decide what we're going to do as far as embellishing that? Well, then our next step is throw these back in here. We'll get this out of our way. If I have, which I just wanted to show too, some of the things that you can often find that you have are your orphan blocks that you have left over from other stitching. This would make a nice page all on its own. It might not be quite big enough, just add some around it. But those are also things that you can use in your cloth stitch journal making. But I have a big box here of all kinds of laces and trims, rickrack, ribbon, different things. And I will go through and find things that I feel, okay, yeah, this, I would like this. This goes nicely with it. I also have, oh, another great big box. These are all laces, antique hankies, other types. I mean, we're talking big bags of old laces and trims and stuff. But I will go through those, and also my great big button jar. This is all antique buttons, and I will find things that I think are going to go nicely with the page, which, just to show you some of the things here. Here's the page, and here are some of the things that I've pulled. We have this nifty little yarn that kind of looks like grass. So I pulled that thinking it would go. We have a green rickrack. We have a piece of lace here. We have a pink shiny yarn. We're just gonna throw those on top of here, and as you hold them, you see how they kind of are starting to blend with and going along with the theme of our thing. We have a piece of pink lace here that might work nicely on there. Some yellow rickrack. Here's another type of curly yarn that we may use to embellish on there. Just pulling, oh, in here, here's a pretty multi-pink trim. But we just kind of lay those all on top. And this, I thought, okay, kind of looked like it could be a cloud up in that sky. So can go up on that top part in that sky someplace and be added on and embellished. And I'm dropping, sorry. And of course, with the bunny on there, we might need some black someplace. So there's a little black piece of yarn there. But those are all things that I feel might work when it comes to doing the stitching and embellishing on this. So those are all thrown into my little thing. And then I like to embellish with beads also. So I have chosen some pink beads and some white pearls that are in here. Here are the buttons that I pulled, yellow, pink, green, white buttons that I may use along the way. We have a string of green beads that I found that I can use for embellishing. We have some pink ones in here, a couple different ones of yellow, but we have all those that we can use to embellish. We have thread for sewing the beads on. And then I also went through my threads to choose colors that I felt were going to go well. Once again, we're going to lay this sideways here so it shows. But I pulled out of my sulky flosses. We've got a variegated yellow green here that'll work well. We've got a darker variegated green that will work. Pink, of course, a variegated pink. We have a plain light green here, a yellow, and of course for the bunny, which I forgot to tell you and I will mention, I use the ink that I use is for fabric. It's StazOn, and it is a fabric safe ink, and that's the ink that I used. And I used the gray, and I will probably be using the white, a lighter gray, and a gray when I stitch on the bunny. And of course we have the black in here. But that's how I pull things and ideas for the page. So you're just starting out with this, and then you're just deciding how you want to embellish that as you go along. So I hope that gave you some tips and ideas on how to pull things for your cloth stitching journal page, how to build one, how to get ideas, what to start saving. Go to those thrift shops, garage sales, rummage sales, yard sales, whatever you call them in your area, and be looking for those types of things if you don't have a lot of that kind of stuff in your sewing room or available to you. Those are great places to find things to go with your stitching journal. And I will come back at a later date and show you how I did end up embellishing this and how I put the other sample that we were going through and adding our things to, so you can see how that comes out at a later date. So there you have it, how I go about planning and pulling items and getting ready to do a page for a cloth stitching journal. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I hope that you will go and subscribe to my channel, click that bell so you get notifications, and also I do have a Facebook page that we have a great time as a stitching bee, and the link for that is also will be in the description box. So have a great day, everybody. Enjoy your stitching, and remember, I can keep you in stitches. Bye-bye.